here today making another Pattern Emporium pattern. This one is called the Like a Boss Batwing shirt. It's inside out, of course, but you can see the sort of shape it's going to be. It's nice and loose with dolman sleeves. This is the fabric. It comes from Lush Fabrics online, and I ordered it and it came in this week, so I'm very excited. It's supposed to be a quick make, and so I'm having a go at that one today. So stay tuned and I'll show you my progress as we go. On the top here you can see my tension or my presser foot pressure. I actually released that. So this is a Singer heavy duty machine and I've released it back to between 2 and 1. It's almost at the 1 level, so I've turned it back about 4 turns from what I normally would sew when I'm sewing with woven fabrics. When I'm sewing stretch knit, I change my sewing needle on the machine from a universal needle to a jersey needle. So I'm sewing with a jersey needle, and I'm also using my walking foot. The walking foot means that the two fabrics are pulled through the machine at equal speed and you're less likely to get puckers. This is what the Singer walking foot looks like. It's really good if you're quilting or if you're sewing a quilted product like maybe a bag. And it's also really good if you're using fabrics that it's really important that they don't get extra stretched. So when you're making stretch knit t-shirts or anything to do with stretch knit fabric, I always put my walking foot on because the feed is so much more even and you're less likely to get puckers. These seam allowances are all stated on the Pattern Emporium patterns, and usually they're consistent. So stretch knit fabrics have one size seam and woven fabrics usually have a different seam allowance, but there are occasional seams in garments that are slightly different, so you just need to pay attention to your instructions as you're sewing and make sure that you use the right measurement. If you use the wrong measurement, you're changing the size or shape of the garment. So a seam allowance is really important, and you can't make a garment bigger just by changing the seam allowance or smaller. You need to make alterations to the pattern to make those changes. But make sure you follow the seam allowance guidelines on the tutorials. Starting to look like a top. So I've done the long sleeves on both sides, and all I have to do now is add the neckline band and hem the sleeves and hem the bottom, and it's finished. It actually comes together really quickly. So I finished. This is the Pattern Emporium Like a Boss Batwing shirt with 2 front necklines cut on the high neckline, and it has the long sleeves and regular length. I think there's only one length. This is another Like a Boss Batwing shirt from Pattern Emporium. I made this one using a stretch crepe. It was a remnant that I actually found on the floor. And I think I bought it for $2, so it was pretty cheap, but it makes a lovely top. This one I've made the V neckline, the short sleeve option, and the back has a seam down the middle. The Pattern Emporium pattern has the design, and you can make it either with no seam in either front or back, or a back seam. And because I had such little amount of fabric when I made this, I had no choice but to make the back seam option, and that's what it looks like as a short sleeve. And the V-neck. I think I quite like the V-neck actually. And I have one more to show you. Let me find it. This one's a bit of fun. I don't normally go for sparkly fabrics, but again this one was a remnant that was probably around $2. It was pretty cheap, and it's a stretchy glitter sort of fabric. And just to try out the pattern, I think this was the first one I made of these. And again it's the short sleeve with the V-neck, and I've multi-sized it as Pattern Emporium suggests. I think it's a size 8 top and a 10 hip because my shoulders are a little bit small. And yeah, it's a bit of fun, and for a remnant top, something to wear out somewhere special if you go. 3 examples of tops that you can make using the Like a Boss Batwing pattern from Pattern Emporium. Get yourself online, buy a copy of the pattern. I don't receive any kickbacks for promoting it. I'm just so passionate about the products that I'd love to see people using them and being able to sew clothes that fit. So this one's a sparkly remnant. This one here is some sort of stretch crepe remnant, and both of these came from Spotlight. I don't have pattern information or fabric information about them because they were basically remnants and they were bought a while ago. And then this one here is from Lush Fabrics online, and that's available currently. I only bought this last week. And that's the long sleeve one, and these ones are the short ones. This one here has the round neck. I cut the high round neck, and I cut the high round neck for the back and the front. And if you look at the pattern instructions, it tells you how you do that. And I made the long sleeve option for it. And then obviously this one is a short sleeve. But a bit of fun, nice and easy, quick to sew. And remember, when you're sewing stretch knit fabrics, use a walking foot. Change your needle to a jersey needle, and most importantly, particularly for the hemline, release the pressure on your pressure foot, so wind it back so it's not too tight. Do a sample before you sew your real hem. Practice on a sample. If you practice on a sample and it comes out nice and flat, it'll probably be good for the actual garment. But don't put your garment under the machine when you haven't tested it, and if you don't let off the pressure in your presser foot, then your hem will be all stretched and wiggly, and it's really hard to unpick stitching on stretch knit fabrics. It can be done, but it takes time, and the fabric sort of stretches out and it's not as good, so get it right the first time. Do some samples. So happy sewing. This is Create, Quilt and Make with Kate. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you back on some other of my videos again soon. Thank you. See you later.